Oh, they ain't tell y'all? You tuning into the best morning show on the globe. It's Bradham and Emery in the morning, y'all. LeBron or Jordan, either one when I'm performing. Crossover, buzzer beater and I'm scoring. Bradham and Emery in the morning. Every play they on it. Every day I'm balling. Who's the coach? Who's the GOAT? Like Brady and Belichick, best show on the globe. And they embellish it. Y'all paying Ziffy, I'm Ken Griffey or maybe Mahomes. I stay in the zone, whether man to man or play in the zone. They can't stop me. Mayweather boxing, Curry with the shot, man. We just the best to be. Can we have our SB, please? This was meant to be. Every morning with Bradham and Emery.
Yes, sir. You know the vibes. Thursday morning. Bradham Emery in the morning. Marques, Bradham, Justin Emery.
Yo.
Glad to be with you. And this has been a great first week for us. A wild first week, but a great first week. As the sports guys is just giving us a plethora of news.
Every day. They're just pumping
every
more
day,
and more
thinking
on.
things are just dropping, which is awesome to talk about with you guys. So let's just get right into it. James
NBA
Harden,
bombshell trade yesterday.
James Harden has finally ate himself out of town. It's finally happened where one meal too many. He has officially been traded to the Brooklyn Nets in a monster deal. I want to react to this. I'm gonna go through all the pieces right now. So the Nets
all of the nightclubs in the Houston area are mourning this morning.
Moment of silence. The economy is really going to take a hit out in Houston just from James Harden not being there alone. But I tell you what, I know who's happy. Patterson, New Jersey's happy.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, New York's happy. Brooklyn stand up. Manhattan stand up. They're excited about their James Harden stimmy package.
They need something to take their minds off the Kyrie Irving issue.
Agreed. So the Nets get James Harden. The Rockets get and so the Pacers get involved in this. The Rockets pick up Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Kuritz, 3 Brooklyn first rounders, which is crazy. 1 Milwaukee first rounder, and then 4 Brooklyn first round swaps. So Brooklyn really is in bed with Houston with picks till 2027, and you know, this is you go through that already right there. This is already putting them in a really precarious situation where they really can do not much else. Barring, this is the one for me where I didn't agree with this. This makes it hard for them because when you build a team like this, what they're trying to do is you still gotta have a little bit of depth. And so the Pacers get Karis LeVert and a second rounder. Now Karis LeVert is he's not a flashy name, but he is. He's on the cusp of becoming a star in the league, not a superstar, but a star. He has all-star potential. He's a really good defender. He can score. He can score the ball, and I think that's going to hurt them. And then also another thing, a piece is going to hurt them. I think. So the Cavs, like I told you, get involved. They're picking up Jared Allen. Jared Allen is kind of like DeAndre Jordan like 5-6 years ago. Like that's kind of the mold we is where he's a energy dude. He's a guy around the basket causing havoc, and he's been a big time energy piece for them. So they've really put all their eggs in the basket with this whole trade. Now, this reminds me a lot of when Brooklyn, I think it was 2013, traded basically every asset they had for Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. And we all know that didn't work out at all. Now, Harden is a little bit younger than those guys and has a little bit more than those guys left. However, I don't think this is going to work out for Brooklyn at all. It is going to be a disaster. This is exactly, again, what they're doing. They're repeating the same mistakes they made. They just got from underneath that deal like 2 years ago. Like, I think the summer they signed Kyrie, which was not this past summer, summer before, that was the first summer they could do anything in free agency because they were in such turmoil because of that deal, which brought them nothing. I think they got the first round of the playoffs maybe, I think, the first year. And then after that, it was nothing. I think Pierce was gone within 2 years. Garnett, same thing. So, I feel like Brooklyn was always involved in this deal, and Brooklyn was always going to be a part of this deal. There was not going to be a time where Brooklyn was not going to be going after this deal. However, I do believe that the antics and hijinks of Kyrie Irving made them panic into saying, listen, you can have whatever you want. We can have whatever you want. I do believe that kind of lent to heart to this and how this all happened, how this all broke. But I look at this on a basketball standpoint. You talked about yesterday how you didn't think that Embiid and Harden could coexist. How are these three going to coexist if this goes to the court? What is this going to look like? What is this going to be? Because you got three guys who are ball dominant. Now, Kevin Durant, I don't think is a volume shooter. Kevin Durant can get you 30 on like 15 shots. That's how efficient he is. However, Kyrie's not like that, neither is Harden. And Kyrie and Harden both love the ball. They love having the ball in their hands. So, you're going to turn James Harden into a catch-and-shoot guy now? That was going to happen? Or you're trying to turn Kyrie into a catch-and-shoot guy? That's going to happen? I don't see any of those scenarios working out.
I'm so happy today.
Yeah, you're giddy over here.
I'm so happy. The Sixers, first off, avoided bringing in somebody that I want to bring in, so that's huge.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into later on what they were asking the Sixers for in this trade.
Yeah.
Because I'm really tired of teams. Now, you got to believe the reports. I'm really tired of teams asking the world from Philadelphia and then getting the scrap heap from other teams.
I agree. Well, let me run this by you real quick. Do you believe that Houston really wanted to do business with Daryl Morey?
Absolutely not. The last thing they want to do is to bring James Harden and Daryl Morey together in Philadelphia and have them go to a championship, to potentially even win a championship with another city and not do it for Houston. So they definitely did not want to do it. So
because remember, Daryl Morey said, listen, guys, he kind of pulled a mini Kyrie.
Yeah.
He said, listen, guys, I need a vacation. I'm going to go away for a while. I just need to get out and just do my thing. They're like, all right, no problem, Daryl. Go ahead, take your time. And then they read 3 days later from Woj that he's in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there was a lot of hurt feelings there. So I don't believe – that's why I feel like they were asking for such tall pieces from the Sixers, because they kind of like, all right, listen, if they want to give us all of this to get him, fine. But we're not giving you any Ed Wade discounts. Like, this won't be a Houston situation. And what I'm referring to is when the Phillies, Ed Wade goes to Houston, and the Phillies are able to get Brad Lidge and Hunter Pence on great discounts because they had some sort of working relationship. This wasn't that. This wasn't that at all. This was we know James wants to be with you. No, we're not making it happen. So, Brooklyn, I guess, had the upper hand all the time just because of that factor alone.
Yeah, and a lot of people, on paper, you see Kyrie, you see Kevin Durant, you see James Harden, you're worried, okay, this is a problem. We could have a major problem here.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. This team is going to tear itself apart. For all the Sixers fans out there that were upset that they didn't get James Harden and, it made one of our closest rivals stronger. No, it didn't.
No, it didn't. No,
on paper it did.
Right.
But this team will tear itself apart. And like you said, not really Kevin Durant. No. Because he can get you 35 on 18 shots.
Right.
It's Kyrie, if he ever comes back.
Right.
And James Harden are going to tear each other apart.
That's never going to work. And now there's all sorts of wild rumors flying out in Brooklyn.
Here's the even bigger roll of the dice by Brooklyn now. After next season, all 3 of them have player options.
Yeah, so this is
so hypothetically, after next year, all 3 could be like, all right,
this isn't working.
This isn't working. And
they've ruined your franchise.
And then not only are they gone, and let's go. I don't think they're going to win a chip.
No, I don't either.
All 3 of them are, hypothetically gone, and now you have no draft picks because you gave them all to Houston.
I don't even know if they're going to go to the finals. Because here's the thing. Yeah, offensively you're proficient. You think you may be, but here's the thing. There's no Bosh in the scenario. All 3 of them need, pretty much the same amount of, proficient offense. So there's no Bosh in this scenario. So you have no real third fiddle guy that you can kind of like. Who's gonna when you have a big three like this, someone has to take the back seat. So who out of these three is gonna say I'm gonna sacrifice? Because in Miami, Dwayne Wade sacrificed.
Yeah.
After that first season, he took LeBron's side. Listen, I need you to be LeBron. You gotta be the guy, and it takes that for this kind of scenario to work. I don't see any of those three people doing that.
No.
And also too, there's all sorts of wild rumors floating out there now, and who knows is true. It's again, that's why it's a rumor that Kyrie wasn't even happy with the Steve Nash hire in the first place, and that's what some of it's about too. Is that he never wanted to play for Steve Nash. So there's that out there. This team is in absolute turmoil. It's in turmoil. So now you throw Harden in this.
I love it.
You throw Harden.
Love it.
Yeah, you throw Harden into this recipe now. This recipe of foolishness. So now you have him involved, and now he has to get himself back in shape. he has to get that done, and then also you're bringing this guy into a system that's already been integrated. Now listen, the biggest, I think the most important person for the James Harden marriage with Brooklyn is Mike D'Antoni. Like he's the guy being there that kind of has to kind of navigate Steve Nash, how to deal with him, and how to get him in sets that work and all things like that. But this is a lot for a first-year coach. This is aggressive for a first-year coach.
I would not want to have to deal with this as my first year.
No, absolutely not.
Kyrie is one thing.
Right.
Harden's another, and now you got both.
Now you got both of them. Yeah, and they're issues for different reasons. Like what you can say about James Harden is that James Harden always shows up to games ready to go.
Yes.
He plays. He doesn't want minute restrictions. He rarely ever misses time through injury. He doesn't want games off. So that's a good thing.
He plays. He plays all the time.
However, off the court, he is Allen Iverson 2.0. Like you have to worry about what he's doing in his free time, which is tough. Now, Kyrie Irving it's with him. You have a combination of both, where even on the court, he has multiple personalities. You can get Kyrie the Killer, where he's going out there putting up 45, looking like the best player in the NBA. Or you have Kyrie spraying sage in Boston Garden before the game, and then you just don't know what you're going to get on the court with him. You have no idea. He could be a guy to give you 45, or he can give you 15 on 6 of 35 shooting. Yeah. And then the press conference look in your face and say, I took 30 shots, maybe I should have took 40. And you're what? Brooklyn's gonna be a traveling circus. That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a traveling circus. They're gonna win games. The score's gonna be like 155 to 153. And when games where they don't care, they're gonna lose games like 147 to 85.
Yeah.
It's gonna be that type of contrast in scores because it just I don't see a scenario where this brings a championship. I don't see a scenario where this even brings a finals appearance because I don't know how they're all going to make this work and coexist.
They're not. That's the simple answer.
Right.
And that's why it leads me back to my other point where Sixers fans, this is not a team you have to worry about. They will destroy themselves. When you play them, they might smoke you.
Yeah.
Okay? But across the course of a season, across the course of the playoffs, across the course of next year, this team will rip itself apart.
Yo, like Stephen A. said about the Cowboys, just wait.
Yeah, just wait. Just wait. It will happen.
Wait. It's gonna happen. Just wait for it. Now let's look at the Sixers side of things here. Okay, so
I'm so happy about this.
I know you're excited.
I'm so happy.
I'm happy now because what was coming out yesterday when things were really starting to heat up was we talked about this yesterday. Yesterday, what did I say? I said I was comfortable with Ben Simmons being traded. I was comfortable in that because I believed in the future of Tyrese Maxey.
Yes.
Well, lo and behold, I look at my phone and I'm literally having palpitations because I'm seeing that Maxey is now included in this deal, and now I'm sweating because I don't want that at all. That was the deal breaker for me, and honestly, I believe personally that was a deal breaker for the Sixers. I think the Sixers were fully engaged in the Ben Simmons talks, and I believe that would have probably been a thing. Maybe Ben Simmons is a pick, but once Maxey got involved, they were like, whoa, hold on, wait a minute, stop.
Yeah, I mean, you're the one that I wasn't even aware of how active the trade was until you had called me.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, this is happening today. It's going down.
Yeah.
And I had told you, I was like, if it's Simmons and Maxey, I was like, I'm out.
I agree.
I was like,
It can't be both.
Because one of the strengths of the team right now, is that they're extremely deep.
I agree.
Now they're missing that number 2. Like I had said this to you yesterday.
Right.
They have a 1 to win. You need a big 3. You have a 1 and a 3. You're missing the 2.
Right.
But they have something that a lot of teams that do have a big 3 don't have, and that's extremely high quality depth. The drop off from their 4 and 5 to their 6, 7, and 8 is not as dramatic as other teams.
I agree.
And that is a strength. And if you would have given up Simmons and Maxey, and what I had heard was it was Simmons, Maxey, Thibault, and a couple of picks.
Yes. Yeah.
You would have been doing what the Nets are doing,
Right.
Mortgaging everything
Right.
for the championship this year, next year. You would have done what the Eagles did, mortgage everything for 1 or 2 championships.
And those pick swaps are going to hurt because
you got to assume Houston will be good.
and you got to also assume that Brooklyn is good. This is a short-term thing. But like you said,
Now,
so
do you
what
know if any of them are protected?
the Pox the
swaps.
swaps? No, they're not. They're
No,
unprotected.
oh.
They're this is bad, bro.
This is very bad.
This is bad news bears.
Did Howie Roseman do this trade for them?
Yeah. So those swaps, like you said, these 3 could opt out at the end of next year. So, this could be really bad for Brooklyn, where you now need to replenish through the draft, and you can't do that. So, like,
could you imagine Houston as, say, the 7th or 8th seed,
right,
for the next 2 or 3 years, but being able to swap to like top 6 or 7 picks,
right,
and just add lottery pick after lottery pick after lottery pick after lottery pick,
right, Kentucky,
Kansas,
yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. Like it is. It's definitely because you look at these guys.
Imagine, all I can say is Daryl Morey would never do this.
No.
Oh,
But he didn't do it.
I know.
He said no. He said flat out no. And you look, James Harden's 31. Kevin Durant's in that age range, the 30-31 age.
This
trade. And then what's Kyrie? Kyrie's
28.
Kyrie's 28. So those 2 alone, what are you thinking? 3 to 4 more peak years of performance?
This trade completely shaped the landscape of the NBA, and not for the better.
Right.
Not for the more competitive balance.
I agree.
It eliminated Houston as any kind of contender, whatever you would consider them as a contender. They've been a contender the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Right.
And I think it effectively made Brooklyn. They'll make the playoffs. There's no doubt about that.
Right,
They may even come away with the top seed.
Right.
I don't know if they make the finals.
I don't know that they do either. Especially again, the playoffs. The playoffs is a different animal. We all know the game slows down. It's mostly about half court ball, and you got to play defense. You got to be physical. And I don't trust anyone on that team besides KD to play actual defense.
Yeah.
Like Kyrie Irving's a terrible defender. James Harden can defend when James Harden wants to defend, but it's wildly inconsistent. And then you got a bunch of other guys that don't, like Joe Harris. Who's he guarding?
Nobody.
And so you got and you took away your top perimeter defender in Karis LeVert and traded him away, and you took away your rim protector in Jared Allen. Like DeAndre Jordan is not DeAndre Jordan 5-6 years ago.
No,
he's not that guy anymore. He is DeAndre Jordan right now is kind of, and I don't not to be disrespectful, but it's kind of where Dwight Howard is. Like Dwight Howard will give you 15 to 20 minutes that are really good minutes. That's it. You don't want him starting.
Well, let's do a matchup between the Sixers and the Nets.
Yeah.
Who's stopping Embiid?
Exactly.
Like, if Embiid wants to score 30 that night, he will.
He's going. Which he's going to want to do.
And
I like and listen.
And that you have enough guys that you can throw at their players on defense.
So you're gonna have what you're gonna have, and this is where
you're probably gonna put Ben Simmons on Kevin Durant.
Exactly. This is why keeping Ben Simmons helps you because you have, listen, he's not gonna stop Kevin Durant, but he can slow him down a little bit.
Yes.
And you're gonna put Ben on Kevin Durant,
and he will frustrate Kevin Durant.
Exactly. So you're gonna put him, and you're like, this is your assignment for the whole series. Go.
We don't care about points anymore.
We don't care. Just guard him. And then you have a bunch of other guys that play defense. Seth Curry's a good defender. Danny Green's a good defender. Embiid's an all-world rim protector and good defender.
Yeah, and so then you also have Thibault, who showed a lot of promise.
You have Thibault, who plays good defense. So you
guys got people you can throw. You got bodies to throw at them.
You got guys. So I like that aspect of it. Now, again, like I said about the Sixers, I feel that this worked out good for them in what they would have to have given up to get James Harden.
I agree.
They were asking for way too much. I think they did the Sixers on purpose. They want to trade him there anyway. But also, I'm glad the Sixers stuck to their guns and didn't go overboard because
it ruins a division rival.
Right.
I love it.
Right.
I love it.
Right. So now
today was a great day, or yesterday was a great day, Sixers fans.
And the thing is too, you don't necessarily yes, you're right. Brooklyn could conceivably get the number 1 seed, but you don't need to have the number 1 seed to go to the finals.
No.
I mean, have we not watched Milwaukee Bucks for the past couple of years? Getting the number 1 seed does not necessarily mean you're going to the finals. It doesn't mean that at all.
I mean, did LeBron have the number 1 seed every time?
No,
because he didn't care. He's on the road, at home.
Yeah,
win the game.
LeBronto. So I think overall, now that it's over and I can just assess everything, I think it worked out best for everyone.
I agree.
Except the Nets.
Well, yeah, except for the Nets.
It worked out best for us for the Nets, but not for us. But on the other side, I want to get into Ben Simmons. Because now I believe the dials of pressure have really ramped up when it comes to him.
Oh,
and what the expectations are.
I mean, he's now 100% on the hot seat.
He's in the crosshairs.
Yes.
And we're going to get into that. We're going to deep dive into that on the other side. But real quick, I just want to say that, I do believe in this team, the Sixers. I think the Sixers have a good thing going.
Oh, I agree.
And I think that, they're definitely going to be in the conversation at the end. I'm not guaranteeing NBA Finals, but I believe this team is constructed right now to make a deep run. And now that this is all done and the Harden stuff's off the table, I don't want to touch this team. I don't want to do.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to disrupt anything.
I don't want to do Ben Simmons for Bradley Beal. Whoa.
I don't
want to do that.
Whoa.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Okay.
On the other side.
We talk about the other side, but I don't want to do that. I don't really see any. I don't want to do Simmons for Zach LaVine. I like Zach LaVine. I don't want anything like that. But so I want to see the team. I want to see this team together, because that's one of the problems with the Sixers, right? Is that there's been no consistency. You've had Embiid and Simmons been a constant for the past 4 or 5 years, but all the other parts have been intermoving and changing constantly. Yeah, so how do you ever develop team chemistry when you're constantly moving?
Let them work
parts?
It out.
Let them figure it out. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to address all that. And when we come back, we're getting into the point guard, our 6'10" point guard, 6'10" polarizing point guard. It's Brad Emery in the morning, Marques Bradham, Justin Emery. We will be right back. Hi, I'm Marques Bradham. I'm here to talk to you about USA Today. Here to talk about Mike's Homemade Ice Cream. USA Today selected Uncle Mike's Homemade Ice Cream as the best ice cream parlor in Pennsylvania. Uncle Mike's is family-owned and dedicated to the production of premium-quality gourmet ice cream in Sorbet. Made fresh daily on the premises using the highly quality ingredients available. Uncle Mike's features over 30 unique delicious flavors offering scoops, sundae shakes, and special order ice cream cakes and pies. Uncle Mike's Ice Cream is located at 537 York Road in Warminster and is open all year round. Go see Uncle Mike's and let their staff serve you happiness one scoop at a time. Yeah, man. Brad Emery in the morning. Marcus, Brad, Justin Emery. Sorry, I lost control of my mouth for
It's all right. It happens.
a good 20 seconds.
It's all right. You could be Marcus and Brad.
Marcus and Bradham. So we want to do a question of the day that's going to be
That'd be quite a law firm name for you, Marcus and Brad.
Marcus and Bradham. Law firm Marcus and Bradham. I'm both people. We want to do a question of the day for you on our Twitter at Bradham and Emery Pod. The question of the day is very simple. Would you? James Harden, would you? Would you have made the trade? We were going to check that back at 11:55 a.m., and we will give you the results then. So let's do a deep dive here into Ben Simmons. Because for one of the things that was out there reported by a lot of reliable sources that Ben Simmons was over the moon ecstatic that he was not traded to Houston and he's remaining here. Coming from his camp, he's under the belief that the Sixers have a real shot to win an NBA championship. He wants to do it here, which kind of surprised me a little bit because Ben Simmons comes off to me, and maybe it's just his demeanor, but he comes off to me extremely indifferent about Philadelphia. And I've never, he's never said anything bad about Philadelphia. He's never, said anything, I'll compare it this way. Let's look at Joel Embiid. We know Joel Embiid loves Philadelphia, right?
Yes.
I don't think it's any question that Joel Embiid has embraced the city of Philadelphia. And he is a Philly guy. He wants to be here his whole career. He said that. Ben Simmons has said that too. He's talked about playing here his whole career. However, it comes across a little different. Where Joel Embiid, I truly believe that he has embraced the city and everything that has to do with it. Ben Simmons, and listen, this is my opinion. I don't know, obviously I don't know him personally, but he comes across as a guy that has not fully embraced being here. As far as, not that he has a problem playing here, but if he was to get traded somewhere else, he wouldn't really care. That's how I look at him with him. So I was a little surprised to hear how happy he was not to get traded. Now, this could go one or two ways in my opinion. And I'm going to ask you which way you think it'll go. I'm going to go back to the 2000 offseason for the Sixers. Allen Iverson was traded in that offseason to the Detroit Pistons in a package with Matt Geiger. The only reason why that trade did not go through is because Matt Geiger, he did not pass physical. After that, it scared Allen Iverson into becoming the best basketball player on the planet for a season. And that was his MVP year. And that was the best version of Allen Iverson we got. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that he wanted to be here so bad and he didn't want to get traded. When it was finally a thing, it was going to happen, it scared him into being great. And, but there's the other side where, that doesn't happen. And you have a guy that doesn't make those improvements and just doesn't get it. So where do you think this could be a situation for Ben Simmons where he now gets it and now tries to really dramatically improve his game? Because that's really the thing with him. What about Ben Simmons when he came into the league and we first saw him on the court to now? What about his game has changed, evolved? What is about his game that we see and we're like, whoa?
Nothing.
And that's right.
He's
that's
the
the
same
issue.
exact player now,
Right?
as he was at LSU.
Mm-hmm. Right. He's doing the exact same things, and that's the issue. We talked about this yesterday, where Embiid, has had one thing he needed to really, really correct, and that was his conditioning.
Yeah, his conditioning.
His conditioning, his fitness, his diet. He hired a personal chef. He took care of his body, and now you're seeing the fruits of that on the court. Simmons has things he needs to work on.
And he's not.
And that's the frustrating thing is it's not happening.
There's a lot of reports that came out, I don't know, maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always the speculation that we've all had about it. But that the Instagram videos of him working out are just that.
Yeah.
I mean, so to answer your question, which way is it going to go. I want it to go the way that we all want it to go.
Right.
I think it might for a little bit, and then he might revert back to his normal self. I don't think Ben Simmons cares about becoming a basketball legend. Like, if he wants to, he can make himself a first ballot Hall of Famer. If he wants to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, he can do it. But here's the most annoying part about it, is if his game never changes and he plays this way for 12 to 15 seasons, he'll probably still make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Because he'll have a ton of assists, a ton of rebounds from the guard position.
Well, averaging like 16.
Yeah, and he'll
16,
have a plethora of all-star appearances. He'll probably have a couple of all NBA teams here and there, and he may end up with a defensive award at some point in time too.
Let me ask you this, because my annoyance with his game. Okay, so when the Sixers start off 7-1, I want to have an honest moment here. When the Sixers start off 7-1, and they were playing the way they were playing, and he was surrounded by shooters, and guys were making shots, and the whole team was there. They're 7-1. I don't think anyone really was complaining about the way Ben was playing, and his game didn't change. It didn't change over when everything happened with COVID and the injuries. The game didn't change at all. His game didn't change. It's just that the shooters, you removed Steph Curry, you removed Tobias Harris, you removed Shake Milton, you removed guys that were knockdown shooters around him to make his game work in that environment. So here's the thing for me is that is it okay if he does not go that route, because if you keep a team like this around him? Will we be okay with that? Or is it, listen, you've got to be a dominant basketball player all the time in every facet, including scoring? Which one is it? Which one will we be happy with? Because honestly, the way they were playing, like the pieces that Daryl Morey acquired, I think was obviously for Embiid, but also too for Simmons, because Simmons, that's what he does. He wants to pass the ball. So we got to get the ball to guys you pass the ball to who can make shots, right? So you take those shooters away, obviously it puts that glaring look on his game again. It makes his game look vulnerable again. Like, the thing that frustrated me was you're playing the Miami Heat, half the team's out, and you're taking 2 shots. Like, that's not, I need you to be dominant. And no, Joe's going to need help here. We're going to need help, but you're going to need to score the ball. And also the way he scores the ball. But do you think that's the problem here, is the fact that we're looking at him, it's annoying to us again because we're missing the pieces right now?
Yes and no. So some of it is that, I mean, when you're drafted number 1 overall, you have certain expectations.
Right.
And it just so happens that the number 1 overall pick in a professional basketball draft doesn't want to do the fundamental thing in the sport of basketball. It's a extremely unique and perplexing scenario where you have a basketball player that doesn't want to shoot the basketball. Like, think about that. You have a basketball player that doesn't want to shoot the basketball. Find me a quarterback that doesn't want to throw.
Right.
Find me a running back that doesn't want to run.
Right.
Find me...
The wide receiver doesn't want to catch.
Yeah, find me a pitcher that doesn't want to pitch.
Right.
Well, maybe starting pitchers after they hit 100 pitches, but
right.
Anyway, it just doesn't make any sense. And what is even more infuriating about it is that all the other aspects of his game are elite or highly above average.
Right.
And that if he just became... he doesn't even need to become great. He just becomes a respectable shooter. He's a top 3 MVP discussion for the next decade.
Right.
And I think that like where he would, all that comes into it. If we were talking about that we drafted Simmons 7th overall and he just fit in, we wouldn't care. We drafted this guy number 1 overall, and it's just we're just stuck with this.
But isn't this what happens when you draft on strictly potential? Because that's what his draft pick was. There was always these questions about him. When he was drafted, it was you got it. Yeah, yes, he's the number 1 pick.
Yeah, but he was also really the only guy in his draft.
I agree with that.
Like there's some NBA drafts where there's 1 or 2 guys, and everybody else is just a player.
Jason Tatum was in this draft also. No, I'm sorry. No, he wasn't. You're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah, as far as Simmons goes, he was
Simmons
really
he
was really the only true difference maker in his draft class.
Right. But it came with a lot of questions. There was a lot of question marks about him going into this. So when you draft on strictly potential, this is kind of what happens, what ends up happening.
Yeah, I'm okay if he fits in very similar to, he often gets compared to this guy, but like LeBron can do whatever you want him to do. Like if you want him to just play point, assist everybody, fine.
Right.
You want him to lock somebody down.
And by the way, LeBron would rather pass and shoot.
Yes.
He would rather pass and shoot, but he does shoot.
Yes, that's the difference. Is that LeBron
he will. He's a willing shot taker.
And did you see the shot he did the other day?
Yes. Yeah, that was disgusting.
Yes. So if Simmons can do all of those things, he can come in and just do whatever you need 1 through 5, except shoot. So unfortunately, I have to say that unless he can do that, he gets the incomplete on the report card from me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good you do everything else. Until you do that, you get the incomplete.
Right. Yeah, I don't disagree. It's going to be with him. I think this is a conversation we're always going to have about him because you're going to have those nights, those rare nights where he does give you 27, 28. But most nights it's going to be what you usually see with him. What you see is what you get. He's an extremely stubborn person.
Oh, yes.
Like, he is a person that, listen, this is who I am. This is what I do. The end.
Well, do you remember at FanFest? When we went to FanFest 2018, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Simmons was there.
Yeah.
Couldn't, on a contractually obligated appearance with the Sixers and their media affiliates.
Yeah.
Have to be there.
Right.
Could not have been more, first off, late.
He was only there for, 5 minutes?
He was supposed to do a 25-minute interview. First off, he was late.
Yeah.
And he only was, maybe 10 minutes on the stage because he was in the middle, so there was things lined up after him. So even though he was late,
right.
It's not like they could push the full duration back. He was done at a certain time.
Right.
Pulls up, literally parks in front of the stage.
Yeah.
It's just like I said, Ben cares about Ben. And you have this report. Have you heard the report that came out about him in New York?
I have not.
When he was supposed to be quarantining? He broke quarantine.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes. Yeah.
He broke quarantine.
Is that confirmed that he broke quarantine yet?
Or no, it's confirmed. Doc Rivers came out and said, yeah, but it's like not what you think it is. But
do we know where he went?
He was trying to come back to Philly.
He was trying to escape?
The story that what I read and from everything that I've heard is that he was told to quarantine in New York because that they were playing the Nets.
Yeah.
Following a game in Brooklyn. So
right.
told he could not come back to Philly until testing and everything, and they wouldn't know everything until the next day. So he had to quarantine in New York. Hired a personal car on his own dime. Hired a car, driver, to pick him up and drive him back to Philly because, quote, all the restaurants in New York are closed and I was hungry.
Okay.
Where can you eat indoor in the city of Philadelphia right now?
Right. Absolutely nowhere.
So really, was it you were coming to a restaurant, you were trying to get back here to party?
Something was going on back here in the city that you want to be a part of. But, yeah, that goes back with the way he handled FanFest. That kind of goes back to what I was saying about. I was surprised.
Could you imagine if you bumped into him on campus at LSU?
No.
Like,
like that it just goes back to my original. I go back to my point. Like with him, like I don't know. Like I was surprised to hear that he was ecstatic to want to stay here, based on the way he treats kind of being here.
well,
And
I mean, he
like,
probably has a lot of other off the court interests based around here. I mean, don't get me wrong, Houston's a major city,
absolutely
but it's not Philadelphia.
no
He has
big market, but not as big as Philly.
Yeah, and he like in Houston. Yeah, you have. I'm not sure how far away it is, but Dallas is in the same. You know how you have
Dallas
other,
is like 3 hours away.
Yeah, you have a
3-4
couple.
hours.
But in Philadelphia, as far as his off the court business ventures go, he can be from D.C. to Boston in a handful of hours, with Baltimore, Philly, and New York along the way. Like, he can go to New York, and obviously we all know he really wants to be in L.A. Like, let's just be honest.
Yeah, we've had these conversations.
Like, he wants to be in L.A., but Philadelphia is a better city to be in than Houston. Now, I will say this, though. I was surprised from a financial standpoint. He did not really care as much, being as how Texas is a no income state. Pennsylvania is not.
Right.
And he has a huge contract. He would have saved tens of millions of dollars in taxes being traded to Houston.
Yeah, I think Harden, now that he's going to Brooklyn,
Is going to
it's $13 million. I think that he's given up to go there in taxes alone.
Well, I believe it was $28 million is the amount of money that Derek Carr's contract increased in value from going from California to Vegas for taxes.
Wow.
Because there's no taxes.
Right.
And he's leaving the Oakland Bay area. He's leaving that tax bracket.
Right.
To go to somewhere where there is. I believe it was right around $28 million. His current contract just went up in value because of that.
Wow. I'll take it.
I'll take that.
I'm in.
I've often crunched those kind of numbers, like for the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
From a convenience, monetary, all that kind of stuff. The best team to play for is actually the Houston Texans. Because you are guaranteed 9 tax-free paychecks. Because for pro sports, you get paid off the tax bracket based upon where the game is played. So if you're on the road, you get paid based upon what the taxes are in that city.
Right.
So having 8 home games in Houston, because the NFL is the only sport that doesn't pay you year-round. You only get paid during the season. All the other sports, your paycheck's broken down across the span of 52 weeks. In the NFL, you only get paid from training camp through the end of the Super Bowl. Like after your exit, the week after that, you only get paid from that time frame. So you have to make that money last you the rest of the calendar year before the season kicks off the following year. You get a tax-free game as a division opponent playing Jacksonville every year. So there's your 9th tax-free game. You're guaranteed 8 dome games a year in Houston and 1 dome road game a year playing your division rival in Indianapolis. It's the only team that you play more than half of your games in a dome and more than half your games tax-free.
With all that said, John Watson said,
Deshaun Watson's out. He's out.
He
After
said,
all
I
that
don't
being
care about
said,
any of that, Justin.
He doesn't
I'm out.
care.
I'm
He's
out. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to get into some comments George Hill made about his feelings on the new COVID regulations in the NBA and have a deeper discussion about the NBA and COVID. Brad Emery in the morning. Marcus Brad, I'm Justin Emery. We'll be right back.
All day.
Yes, sir. Brad in the morning. Marcus Bradham, Justin Emery.
Yo.
James Harden currently is decided that he's going to drive cross country to Brooklyn and stop at every fast food joint along the way. Breaking news. Breaking news. Just kidding. Just kidding. He's not going to do that. But we actually do have breaking news regarding the Philadelphia Eagles. What
We
got?
do. We do. Jeff Stoutland, offensive line coach, out.
Why?
Going to coach offensive line at University of Alabama.
Damn you, Saban. Saban.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I know it's Alabama, but does that say something that you're leaving an NFL franchise to go coach college? Am I reading into that a little bit? Like, is that like I know it's Alabama and Alabama's Alabama, and Nick Saban runs Alabama like a pro franchise, but does that say something that you have a pro coach that's going to – because however you look at it, however you look at Alabama as the program they are, going from pro to college is a downgrade to do the same job. It's not like he's going there to be a head coach. He's going there to coach the offensive line.
Yeah, it's a lateral move with.
I don't even think it's lateral. I think it's backwards. 'Cause you're taking.
Well, I'm saying you're keeping the same position.
Right, you're keeping the same position,
not,
but I look at it. You're still going backwards because you're going to college instead of the NFL. But is that an indictment about what this man thinks of what's going on with the Birds? Do you think this is happening because of all the turmoil with the team right now, and he's just like, I'm out? Because his job, like the Eagles' offensive line is not his.
Yeah.
It's not. He didn't do anything.
He's going to replace Kyle Flood, who's moving to University of Texas, and he's going to coach their offensive line. He was their offensive line coach before the Eagles, and he has him and Nick Saban go way, way back.
Okay. So this is like a friendship thing.
I mean,
obviously money had to be talked about, but
listen, do you want to go to Alabama and win national championships after national championships after national championships, or do you just want to be widely known as the best offensive line coach in the NFL, but you have a terrible owner?
Me personally, I stay in the NFL if I want to be an NFL coach.
See the difference, but
do you want to?
I don't think he cares. Like he's okay with just being an offensive
so he's kind of like Howard Mudd.
Yes.
Where Howard Mudd, a Jim Johnson type. I just am happy being
That's like what he is.
All right. I mean, that's fine. I mean,
I'm not sure there's very many offensive line coaches, if any, in the Hall of Fame. But if there were to be a Hall of Fame offensive line coach,
yeah,
this is the guy.
You're right. Right.
So what is he like? Like Nick Saban, yeah, could he go to the NFL and coach? I mean, couldn't do it with the Dolphins, but could he do it again? Maybe, or he can just become the most decorated college coach of all time.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for a guy for Nick Saban, I don't see it. I don't like you. You're solidified as the man in college football. There's no reason for you to try to like the NFL again, unless you get obviously blown away by. It's kind of like how Jay Wright feels at Villanova. Jay Wright has been offered. He's been on a coaching list for the past couple of years to come up to the NBA, and he won't do it because why? Because I'm at Villanova. I've built this amazing program. Like I have my style of players coming in. Now Villanova, I've turned Villanova into an area where people want to come play, and it's not like I'm getting top recruits. I've won a national championship. I've been at two other Final Fours. I'm solidified here. Why am I going to coach the Oklahoma City Thunder and maybe be a 7 or 8 seed for what? It doesn't make sense. But I was just thinking that maybe as a backwards move, this guy might want to at some point do something else. But if that's the case, he wants to be Alabama win championships. I can't really argue with that.
Apparently, Jeff Stoutland is just turned off by the entire coaching situation.
So exactly what we just yes.
Yep.
And it seemed like it's a mess over there. So it is a mess over there. So really, you just got at this point now, you're the Eagles, who were a franchise, it was safe to say 7-8 years ago, where people wanted to come play for you.
Yeah.
Coaches wanted to come here just for the reputation of the Eagles and what they've had, the fan base, the ownership, and now it's going the other way. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out with the Eagles hiring their coaches and their staff, and what this will look like in 2021. But
I mean, this is such a disaster. Did you hear the report that came out about Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz? About how Doug wanted to move on with Hurts, and basically Lori said, if you want to move on with Hurts, then we can move on from you.
Yeah, because
that's basically how it went down.
And yeah, that's kind of what I've been saying the whole time, is that Doug for some reason with Doug and Carson, it was a situation where it just didn't work. It didn't jive for some reason. I don't know what the reasons were. And Doug saw the ship going down. He panicked and put all his eggs in the Hurt basket. But
what do we do if next year they go to camp, they battle, and it's clear as day that Hurts is better? Then, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll be honest with you. I don't believe the next coach is going to make this a battle. Like, I believe the next coach is going to say Carson Wentz is the starter of this team. What if it's? But I'm saying, like, what if it's just
it won't be entertained. They're going to bury Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts is on this team going in next year, it will not be at all a conversation. It might be with the fans, but with the team, whoever this next coach is, I guarantee you, Roseman and Lori are going to sit him down in the room and say, listen, I don't care what you see out there. I don't care what's happening out there. I don't care. You are going to say Carson's the starter because Carson is the starter. That's it.
That's that.
I don't want to hear anything at all about what you see. If you're asked a question about Jalen Hurts, next question. You are not at any point allowed to address him as anything more than the backup quarterback. But, I mean, they're going to try to trade him on the offseason, right? Like, I would. Why even have him here on the team? Get him out of here. If you're committing to Carson Wentz, get him out of here now. He's got to go. He's got to go because there's too many. Because Carson throws one interception.
Yes, I know.
It's all of a sudden. And listen too. By 2021, you're gonna have fans. You're gonna have fans back.
Yes, I know.
So this could be potentially really bad. He's got to go. Get him out of here. You know, go get what's the backup in Detroit? He was here for a couple. The luckiest man in America. He's like the AJ Philly of this generation. Like, I forget his name now. Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy. He's back up in Detroit. He actually came in Thanksgiving. I forgot he was still in the NFL. He backed up in Kansas City for years.
Chase Daniels?
Chase Daniels. Yes, Chase Daniels, the luckiest man in the world. Seriously counts millions of dollars. It's ridiculous. But, all right, so when we come back, I promise you we're going to get into George Hill.
Yes.
We're going to do that.
We have George Hill. We also got a Bremy nomination.
Bremmys. We told you, giving out awards for random reasons. Brad in the morning, Marcus Brown, Justin Emery. We'll be right back.
Hey, guys, I want to tell you about my friends over at Conshohocken Italian Bakery. Check them out online at conchibakery.com. Shoot on over to their location, 79 Jones Street over in Conshohocken. Make sure to get their breads, rolls, desserts, and the world-famous tomato pies. They're my absolute favorite, whether you just want to grab them for lunch when you're driving by or you got a special occasion you want to get them for, conchibakery.com. Make sure to tell them that Justin sent you.
Yeah, man. You know the vibes. Brad and Emery in the morning. Marques Brown, Justin Emery. Hour number 2.
Love it.
So, we said it was going to happen, and we don't tell lies in the show.
No, absolutely not.
We don't tell. There's no lies detected here. You know the music already. You know what's about to happen. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you can stand with me now,
I got my tuxedo on.
get the tuxedo out, slip on the bow tie, get the ruffle shirt out, because it's time we give away an award. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are now here for the Bremmys. And I want to make a major announcement that every Thursday going forward, a Bremmy Award will be giving out to some lucky participant.
Yes.
So who is our first Bremmy winner?
Oh, so we have a great nominee for today.
All right. I like
We
it.
are issuing our first official Bremmy nomination in the category of burgers.
Ooh, one of my favorite categories.
To BGR Burger Joint, Burgers Grilled Right. We would like to officially give you this certificate to you, and you are in running for the category award winner at the end of the year
I like it.
for the category of burgers.
I like it. I like it. Bremmy nominee number 1 out the gate, strong. Burger nod.
It's
Give me some stats. Give me some stats.
It's-
Why are we nominating?
number one. I feel like it's been a long time coming, giving out these nominations.
Yes.
So we would like to give our congratulations to them. But how many places do you know can you get a pretzel bun at?
Not many.
How many places do you know that you can get a fully customized burger from top to bottom, including the exotic meats?
You're talking like elk?
I'm talking elk.
You're talking elk burgers?
I'm talking elk burgers. I'm talking lamb burgers.
Lamb burgers?
Yeah.
My tongue just came out and licked my entire face.
They got cheeses I can't pronounce on the menu.
The non-pronounced cheeses?
The non-pronounced cheeses are on the menu.
Yo, we got the Gouda?
Gouda.
Gouda cheese on the menu?
Gouda cheeses on the menu. I personally ride with the pepper jack.
Pepper jack. I'm a huge pepper
I'm
jack guy.
a huge pepper jack
Like a little
fan.
spice. Because pepper actually brings out the taste of cheese. So you ever take a little black pepper, throw it on your cheese pizza? Outstanding.
When given the opportunity to do a build your own burger, I will do that every single time.
Absolutely.
Because this is how I base a place as a good burger. I go and I get the make your own burger. Because if you can successfully do the make your own burger, I will come back and I will try your pre-designed recipes on your menu.
Yes.
But if you can't give me the way that I want it and it be good, why should I trust you to make things your way?
I agree with that assessment.
I got the make your own burger from this place. Home run. Home
Out of the
run.
park.
Home run. I mean, they qualified them for the first nominee.
I like it.
And there's locations all over the East Coast. And randomly 2 locations in Kuwait.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Shout out to the Middle East.
Yeah.
So what needs to happen is I need to get my hands on these burgers.
You do.
These nominees. I want them lined up.
Now, the closest one to where we're at is that they have locations in New Jersey.
I can drive
Okay?
to Jersey.
So we can go right over the bridge.
We
They
can
do
make that
have
happen.
locations in Jersey.
I'm in.
We got to set it up.
I'm in. I'm in. After the show one day, we'll pack up the kids and we'll go.
We'll go.
Everyone in the car. We're out.
We're going to BGR.
We're going to the BGR.
So
get some
congratulations. You are the first official Bremmy nomination. As Marcus had said, every Thursday at 11 o'clock we'll be giving out nominations until
The award show.
Until the award show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look forward to that. I want to shift gears a little bit. We didn't get a chance to get to the last segment because of our breaking Eagles news, but I want to get into the NBA and everything that's going on with them when it comes to COVID and their new protocols. So the NBA is now tightening the belt pretty tight.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, they don't want you doing it. You're not even allowed to breathe really now anymore. So don't breathe. No exhaling. Inhaling only. No exhaling. It's getting to the point now where, they're kind of trying to create a bubble scenario without the layers of a bubble. Like they're trying to pretty much say to you, we want you to create a bubble in your environment because we don't want you leaving hotel rooms. We want you to do anything. So you make your own bubble. Like instead of actually having a concrete bubble, which I get it because, listen, the bubble, but we love the bubble. We love the bubble, but the bubble was a short-term solution because you can't ask grown men with families and obligations to stay quarantined somewhere for 8-9 months. That's unfair. I agree with that. You can't do that. So now they're trying to, all the arenas are open across the country, and they had. I mean, I thought going into it, I thought it was a good concept to have where they're kind of doing baseball series in a sense, where you're seeing teams play each other maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
But I thought was smart because now you're limiting travel, and you kind of have like that buddy system. So I was like, okay. And then the idea of not having the second half of the schedule out now, just in case you have to do some alterations to the schedule, just in case teams need to make up games, and not releasing that so you have leeway to do that. And also giving yourself till July, if need be, to get this season done. So the NBA, I thought that was all perfectly done. However, listen, you can do something perfect, but imperfection still may occur.
Absolutely.
And what you're seeing now is you're getting, a lot of these teams are starting to get affected. And I don't know, listen, nothing major has come out that people are doing things egregiously wrong in protocols. That you got Kyrie with the
you got your couple outliers.
Right. But you're not seeing like the Tennessee Titans incident.
No.
You're not seeing
you're seeing
the Miami Marlins.
You're
not
seeing team
anything like that.
breakouts, but it's not because of the players not following protocol.
Right, that's my point.
It's literally
right.
because NBA locker rooms are not probably, they're the smallest. They're the smallest of
they're
the tightest, most confined. That's
right.
why individual teams are getting it. It's not because, like the Marlins, for example, they were out at Magic City.
Right. And then you had
the Tennessee Titans were out at some high school football.
Right.
High school football
field.
Yeah.
Right.
Doing that.
Right.
So it's not that. It's just that the NBA doesn't have. I mean, as we'll be getting into very shortly.
Right.
I don't think they have strong enough protocols in place.
Right. So that now they're really trying to tighten up the ship, and they're really trying to get this together. So
they went from the most strict with the bubble to the most lax.
Right. So George Hill was asked at a press conference about 2 days ago after his game. He was asked about these protocols and these new regulations and how this will affect him and how it affects the NBA.
I'm sorry this is not game related, but the NBA announced tightened COVID protocols for players today, whether that's even staying at home versus what you can do when you're on the road. I just wonder, as a veteran, how are you sort of navigating what's been a very strange season and sort of staying, just sort of keeping up with that and not getting frustrated and overwhelmed by everything you're dealing with, even outside of basketball?
I mean, I'm a grown man, so I'm going to do what I want to do. If I want to go see my family, I'm going to go see my family. They can't tell me I have to stay in a room 24/7. If it's that serious, then maybe we shouldn't be playing. But, it's life. No one's going to be able to just cancel their whole life for this game, and that's how I think about it.
I asked Al this before the game.
So that was George Hill. Now, listen. Personally, I think that's a bunch of BS. I think that's the completely wrong look on his part to have that for several reasons. Number one, listen, the NBA, you are fortunate enough to be one of the 500, 600 people that ever played in the league. And you're fortunate enough to be a part of something special. And your union sat down and came up with these rules that were going to be addressed and how to make this happen, how to make this take place and be able to have a season. You were a part of those meetings, directly or indirectly, whether you got an email and you had to sign something or whether you were directly in these meetings. So you knew what the season was going to look like going forward, and you knew how this was going to look. You at any point could have said, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm not going to do this. Because we've had guys opt out. Avery Bradley didn't go to the bubble because he didn't want to do it. You had guys in other leagues say it's not for me. So you've had guys say, you know what, not for me. You could have done that and forfeited your salary and not played. But you're choosing to play. And once you choose to play, I feel like it is your obligation to follow every protocol that's put out there. Because it's not just about your safety. It's about the entire league safety. So you selfishly going to do something you shouldn't be doing or going somewhere you shouldn't be going, you're putting other people in danger and affecting other people's lives and livelihoods. Like, I don't know your financial situation, George Hill. I have no idea how much money you made in your career, but I'm sure you've made a lot of money.
I mean, he's been around for a while.
Yeah, so you're good. And maybe you're good enough where, like, you don't really need this stuff and need all these protocols, these regulations. That's fine. So you walk away. But then what about the guy in his first, the rookie, or a guy in his second year, or a guy on a mid-level exception? The guys that, like, surprisingly enough, there are NBA players that live paycheck to paycheck. But there are NBA players that don't make that money and don't have that constant capital coming in and need this paycheck and need this job.
George Hill has an estimated net worth of about $30 million.
$30 million. So you break down $30 million, that is your kids are rich. Because the interest I'm sure he has on that money accruing daily, and then, you know, his investments, his stock portfolios, all that stuff. George Hill's good. His family is good. His family's good. You're good. And I just don't think it's fair for you to come out and say, well, I'm a grown man. I can do what I want. Because it's disrespectful to people that aren't in your position. And, you know, you're getting, like, you know, I'm not saying it's not frustrating. I'm not saying he doesn't have a right to be frustrated that this is his life right now. But guess what, bro? You are in a great position. If this is your life, a way better position than a lot of other people are in going through this same pandemic you're going through. And again, I go back to my original point. The players, the union, you guys have a union. These rules and regulations were agreed upon before the season started. That's why it took a little bit of time to figure out when the NBA was going to play, because of all of these meetings with the players union, which you are a part of. So either directly or indirectly, you were involved in these meetings, these conversations. You knew what this was going to be going into it. And you knew also it was going to be ever-changing. It wasn't going to be a stand-clad situation where, okay, this is the rules. We are living in a landscape in 2020 and 2021 now that we're in now, where things are ever evolving. Every day it's a new thing we have to deal with and go through. And you are aware of that. So I have a question, though, regarding this, because I just, you know, obviously went on George Hill a little bit. But is it fair to hold these guys to a higher standard? Or is it a situation where we got to look at them as a regular everyday situation? Because to me, I hold them to a higher standard.
You can't look at them at a regular everyday standard. And I'll give you a couple scenarios why, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Number one, you're a teacher, okay?
Yeah.
Do you work on Thanksgiving?
No.
Quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys does. You're a teacher. Well, with one paycheck, can you go buy a brand new house?
No.
George Hill can. You walk into a place, okay? Say you walk into a restaurant and you can't get a table. What happens to you? You're beat. You got to go to another restaurant.
Right.
George Hill walks into a restaurant. There's no open tables. What happens?
Someone's got to go.
Someone's got to go. So,
or I'm George Hill, I call up and I shut the restaurant down so me and my family come and eat.
So Kevin Hart, in his most recent stand-up,
mm-hmm.
talks about how he mentions taking his kids to Six Flags.
Yeah.
He goes, if I go to Six Flags, he's like, I don't do Six Flags like you guys do Six Flags. He's like, when me and my kids want to go to Six Flags, he's like, I call them ahead of time. They send a concierge. They walk us up to the front of every line. He's like, we do the whole park in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
He's like, but that's only because I am who I am.
Right.
He's like, when my kids go to Six Flags with just their friends and I'm not there, they call me crying about waiting in line. So to say it's unfair to hold them to a higher standard, I'd say it's unfair not to hold them to a higher standard.
Yeah.
Because you're living a privileged lifestyle, and with that comes certain things.
Perks.
You know, if you don't want more money in one day than most people make in a whole year,
right.
don't sign up for it.
And that to me is the most frustrating and egregious part of this whole thing is that,
like you said,
instead of sitting here and complaining,
if you didn't want it, opt out.
Right. Exactly. If instead of sitting
You
here
want the
complaining-
money, but you don't want to follow the rules.
Right. Exactly. You could be Marquise Godwin. He said no immediately. I can't do this. And a lot of other guys did that, which I respect.
Yeah,
But it's kind of like
I mean, I was annoyed from a fan's perspective, but when certain players opted out, like
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
biggest one that annoyed me was when Micah Parsons, the middle linebacker for Penn State, opted out. He opted out of the season because the Big Ten came back late, and he's going to be probably a top 10, if not a higher top pick in the NFL draft. He decided not to come back to Penn State because he didn't want to risk a COVID season and potentially hurt his NFL draft stock.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. I was annoyed, especially because there a lot of the times the games that Penn State lost, they lost because they were weak at the linebacker position.
Right.
And the number one linebacker All-American in the country could change that. So from a fan's perspective, I was annoyed. I understood. Would I have opted out? Who knows? Probably. Maybe. I may have been one of the players that opted out if it was me.
Yeah.
But don't opt in and then complain.
Right.
If you're going to opt in,
Right.
shut up.
I say to my kids all the time, don't be a problem, be a solution. And this is not at any stance being a solution. This is being a problem. Because you're sitting here and you're complaining about something you literally can control.
Yeah.
Like, you have control. And the thing is unfair, too, is that, like, say you work at, the local restaurant.
George Hill's a veteran in the league. I expect more from him.
I agree. Say you work at
I expect this from Brandon Ingram. Or Alternative Kyle.
Alternative Kyle, definitely. Yes, absolutely. But say you work at a local restaurant and, you are just concerned about this stuff as everyone else is, right? You're just concerned, but you got a family to feed. I have to go here. I can't opt out. I don't have that option because if I opt out, I just don't get paid and my paycheck is not, I can't carry my life on savings like you can. Like, George Hill is good. He's good. If he walked away, he didn't have to play another. He didn't have to do anything for the rest of his life.
Every year, he faces the question about retirement.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter for him.
Right. Right. Like the average, sports career, I guess you go NBA, wherever. NBA is 5 years maybe?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years
and
maybe.
NFL's like 2 to 3 years.
3 years,
something
yeah.
like that. So these guys who get to the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 range, you're good. You've made your money. So,
I mean, a 10-year league veteran minimum is what, $3-4 million? Mm-hmm. Like the minimum you can get paid.
Right.
$3-4 million.
Right. A season. So, it just frustrates me that he is taking the stance because, again, this is not something that you need. This is in a microcosm to me, the Kyrie situation, because Kyrie's kind of doing the same stuff where it's like, I can play these games because I got my money, which is messed up. It's messed up to think about that. It's like he's saying, like with Kyrie, he's saying, I can go away from the team for a week. I can, say I'm, being an activist or I'm upset about the Capitol Hill or wherever's going on with me. I can do that because I got my money. But like I said, if you work at, a 9 to 5, you don't have those luxuries. And then you got people who just don't have jobs, who literally out here starving and don't have jobs because of what's going on. And you're sitting here at your podium. People are listening to you talk at your it literally, as I say this, it makes me furious. You're at a podium.
In an NBA facility where you have access to the top doctors in the country.
Like, did you see, I'm sure most of you out there listening watched the Matisse Thybulle YouTube videos and how high-tech the NBA was with addressing Kobe, especially COVID, how high-tech the NBA was. And all the things they went through, the You have the
wristbands
wristband
and the little
You
trackers.
had the trackers. Like everything was done so well. Why? Because they're a $1 billion business, $1 billion baby. You're good, bro. Like you're good. Like you're okay. Like if you somehow end up getting COVID, is it ideal? No. Do I wish COVID on you? Absolutely not. But if you somehow get in COVID, 99.9% you're going to be good. Because you're going to have a doctor probably coming to your house like it was the 1920s to take care of you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're going to have doctors coming in, nurses, whatever you need, they're going to make sure you get it.
He'll be fine.
So you trying to act like these things are inconveniences to me is super frustrating, bro. It's super frustrating.
There's not much more I can say to it other, that you haven't already stated.
So I was thinking about this the other day because I have my kids full time now. I am during the day a single father. Amber comes home at night, but I am a single father during the day, and like it's been since March I've had them. I did daddy day camp during the summer, where I had shirts made, and I took them. We actually did a little camp experience. I wanted to make sure they're getting out of the house and doing stuff, and then all throughout the year, like I'm schooling them. And so, like, we spend a immense amount of time together. Like, I say this all the time, joking around, but I'm half serious. It's like no parent was meant to spend this much time with their kids. Like, and like, my daughter will say, she'll be like, well, we weren't meant to spend as much time with you either. I'm like, I don't blame you for that. I think it goes both ways. I get it. But I was thinking about this the other day. Like, when we were kids and we were like 10, 11 years old, how do you think that our parents would have dealt with COVID? Like, there would have been child deaths. Like, somebody would have died. Like, could you imagine our parents trying to navigate COVID and navigate us just being around all the time and not being able to go anywhere? And also, too, because I believe our generation, when we were children, were way more daring than this generation. I use an analogy all the time. I always say about this generation, they're much more comfortable watching other people have fun than going out and doing the fun themselves. Like, they want to go on, like, YouTube and watch someone get shoved in a grocery cart and fall into a bunch of bushes, where we were actually out doing that stuff.
Right.
Like, that was our life. Like, our life was, let's go in the woods and find a stick. Okay, let's have sword fight with these sticks. Don't poke me in the eye.
If you found a road that had enough speed bumps and a shopping cart, we might go do it right now.
That's an all day event. That like you would, and like literally sometimes your days would start with just going for a walk and seeing what you had around you.
Oh, I remember what I would do is we'd get on our bikes and we just start riding around knocking on everybody's doors.
Yeah.
And then once you had enough people to figure out what you were going to do,
yeah,
just ride around to the dip, and figure out what you were going to stumble upon. And then when you got hungry, you just went back home.
So the first place, right? We went home when we were hungry. Yep.
Yeah.
So the first place I lived in Dolestown, and I had this huge hill, and at the bottom of it, it was gravel. So like you're into the burnouts and stuff. I had a dirt bike. I would go to the top of the hill, and I would just go as fast as I could to get to the gravel. And then I didn't have the handbrakes. I had the feet brakes. So I would hit it as hard as I can so I could skid out. Bro, one time I'm coming down this hill, and I overshoot the gravel, and on the bottom of the hill, it's like it was grass. It was a bump, grass, and then the Chamonix Creek.
Oh, man.
So I'm going like a good 20 down this hill. I'm just going, and like the whole point of the game was to it's kind of like a game of chicken, where you want to like wait as long as possible to hit that brake to get the most skid out. So like, first of all, I could have died because I'm going into traffic. I didn't care. I didn't care at all.
Oh man!
I go past that bump, I hit the brake, and the brake snaps. So now I'm pedaling full speed to the Chamonix Creek, and literally I had to dive off my bike as my bike goes into the creek. That was my childhood. In a nutshell.
One time I was riding my bike, and I was flying down this hill, and you know how they have like the handicap ramps to go like up on the sidewalks?
Yeah.
I was flying. I went up that. I went up it so fast. I went airborne. I flew in the air. I hit my head on the street sign, and I knocked myself out. I woke up in the back of an ambulance.
What?
Yeah.
Yo.
I was
mean,
I was probably like 12 years old.
I have a similar story, but I didn't wake up in an ambulance.
Yeah, no, I flew. I was flying
going.
down this. Well, I was in the
committed.
I was in the street. I was coming down in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
But there was so I could see a car coming towards me, so I
Right.
go to get in the other lane.
Right.
But there was a car behind me too.
Oh, no.
So I had to get on the sidewalk.
And it was a wrap.
Like if I would have stayed in the street, I would have been.
good.
I would have been
You
fine.
panicked.
But I mean, I didn't want to get hit by a car.
Right, right.
I
So-
was like 12.
So
you know?
panic sets. Yeah, I get it.
So I go up the but I didn't slow down though.
Yeah.
I just was like, we're gonna hit the ramp at full speed
It's going to happen.
and airborne, and like apparent like so obviously I hit the street like boom, knock myself out. I wake up in an ambulance and like
Confused.
confused. Like thankfully my brother was like riding with me, so like I would like
Imagine his angle of this.
yeah, imagine
You just pop off the bike and just go airborne.
airborne. I
There's no yo. It's
the whole like
falls are so funny though.
the whole right side of my face was like one giant bruise for like 2 weeks, and like
You literally gave yourself Bell's palsy.
well like I couldn't like a week after it happened. Like so after I mean I'm like 12, 13 years old, so
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm sore, but like
Yeah.
when you're that young,
You bounce back.
you fall down so many times, like, it doesn't matter. But like
Last I
what-
took an L, but
what
then I bounced back.
What I was really worried about is like maybe like a week after it
Mm-hmm.
is when like I really started to get sore. Like, I got sore like extended, and I was like, oh crap.
It increased.
So I remember I was at the park. Right when it said it, you remember, baseball pickup baseball games.
Yeah.
You have enough people, you play. Actually, have enough people to play baseball.
Yeah.
So I remember I'm third base. And I'm getting ready to go home. This dude smokes the ball, and all of a sudden, it's like all of like the pain and the soreness. It took me so long. I like old man hobbled to home plate, and I just sat down. And I was like,
I'm out.
I'm out. And I was sore.
I'm
for
gonna
like,
opt out.
I was sore for like a month. Like, and here's what the crazy thing was: it happened like 2 days into summer break.
Oh no.
Like it was like still like the middle of June.
Yeah.
So like I was
Put yourself on IR.
I was on IR that whole summer till
whole summer.
till like the 4th of July.
Did not play coach's decision
Yeah.
all summer.
IR till like the 4th of July.
That's no good. That's no good. Yo. So on the other side, I'm gonna tell a quick story about because you remind me of a biking incident of mine. I want to talk about. I also want to talk a little Brett Brown, forgotten Brett Brown. I have a question about him.
I have a lot of friends that do
And
not like
I
him.
want to, yeah, I'm gonna also talk nachos because I want to run something by you. Bar and table nachos.
Okay, I was gonna say I was looking up table nacho videos this morning.
There's videos of it.
Oh, it's ton. How do you think I saw it? I didn't go to a party that had this. I saw.
I thought you just heard about this. I
no,
didn't know you actually
there's
visually-
videos. I seen the videos.
You've seen it.
Seen it
You've seen it. All right. Okay.
during the break. I'll show you some.
All right. I'm excited. All right.
And
we're gonna take a break now.
And don't forget, we got in about 20 minutes. We got the unveiling of the results.
Ooh.
The question of the day.
I like it. Brad Emery Morning, Marcus Brown, Justin Emery. We will be right back. Yes, sir. Bradman in the morning, Marcus Brad, Justin Emery. Justin was showing me table nacho videos.
I'm glad you got to see the table
I'm
nachos.
excited. Amber and I have already committed to the table nacho idea. The last thing we do in this house will be table nachos, and we have designated you to be the guy that runs around the crock pot with the cheese.
I gladly accept.
Yes.
I gladly accept.
Yes, it's happening.
I can't believe you haven't seen table nachos before.
So I want to tell this quick story before we talk about Brett Brown.
All right, talk to me.
So these kids don't get it. Like when we were kids, our bikes were our first cars.
Oh,
Like,
I've said that so many times.
They use the way my daughter and my son use their bike. It pisses me off. I hate it because all they do is they just do laps. They don't look at it like this is my mode of transportation to get me places.
Yeah.
Like my bike was my first freedom. Like,
oh, yeah.
Yo, I'm gonna ride. I know my friend lives here. I'm riding my bike to their house.
Yeah.
So when I was like 14, I had a friend, Matt Jones. Matt Jones. Who? Matt Jones. Matt Jones lived in like 10 minutes away from me, biking wise, and it was like a lot of back roads. So I used to ride my bike to his house, like especially in the summertime, like almost every day. He actually built a football field in his backyard out of clothesline. We use a clothesline. That's another thing. Our creativity, like clothesline football field. Come on, man. We had it all set up. We had the yard markers.
Oh, we used to do the same thing with wiffle ball in my friend's backyard. We set up like foul poles in first base and second base, and we would play every day.
Every day.
And then when if it was too cold to play wiffle ball, we would turn the markers into football.
I like it. So yeah, we had a whole setup at his house. So I would go there frequently. And it was just, Mom, I'm going to Matt's house. All right, see you later. Be safe. Whatever. No helmets. Just out. So there was a couple times, though, that, like, I would stay, like, super late. Because, like, my mom was pretty cool, like, especially summertime, about me coming home kind of a lot later. So one night we were playing. He had, like, another thing he had. In his basement, his parents let him turn the basement into, like, a Nerf brigade. Like, he had every Nerf gun there was to have, all the bullets. And
the whole armory was down there.
Everything was down there. So we would have full-out Nerf wars, like legendary proportion. So one night we go inside, we're playing Nerf wars, and I lose track of time. I have no idea what time it is. And it's like 10:30. And his mom comes downstairs and is like, hey, do you need to ride home? I'm like, oh, no, I'm going to ride my bike. So I go outside. And, like, back then, like in the suburbs, there were no streetlights.
Yeah,
it was
none.
Pitch black dark everywhere. So to get to his house, it was a lot of turns, and there was one street that was the T street. It's so dark, I can't see like my hands in front of me. Like that's how
exactly
dark
what you're
it is.
talking about. Yep.
So I'm 14, so I'm trying to be like, big boy about it, but I'm a little scared.
Yeah.
Like this is a lot. Like I didn't anticipate this. This is not an ET. I don't have like the I don't have the headlight on my head. I don't have a headlight on my bike. I can't see anything. So for a kid, when you get scared, what do? You speed everything up. As an adult, you slow everything down. As a kid, you just speed up. So in my logic in my head, I'm like, I need to get home. I need to get home as fast as possible. I need to get out of this scenario. I'm stressed out. I am going full speed, and I have no idea what's in front of me. All of a sudden,
Did you hit a deer?
No.
Did you hit a deer?
I hit a house. I ran full speed into someone's front door. Literally, boom, into the front door. Knocked myself off the bike. I'm disoriented. I have no idea where I am, what's happening. I look out. I'm on someone's porch. The lights are out. It's completely dark. The lights are out. Okay? All of a sudden, I see all lights come on. I freak out. Get on my bike. I'm out. I start pedaling back towards Matt's house. Because now I'm disoriented. I'm like a stunned animal. I have no idea where I am. So I'm literally riding back and forth down the street trying to figure out how to get home. And eventually I just start crying and go to Matt's house and ask him to give me a ride home. Like, can your mom please give me a ride home? I have like blood in my forehead. Like, what happened to you? That's what it's like growing up in the 90s, kids. That's what it's like.
Hilarious.
Yes.
Now the thing is, I had my bike all tricked out. So like, I had the lamp on it.
Okay.
I had like little flashing lights that like I put like on the air caps of my tires.
Okay.
I had like a little like cargo like
You were ready to go. You were accessorized.
Cause like
You had your bike on dubs.
yeah, cause I had a friend of mine who was growing up.
Yeah.
He would be down to bike like if as long as he could bike somewhere and be back by dinner, he was down to go wherever
was happening,
wherever like
yeah.
like we could be like, all right, yeah, we're gonna bike from Abington all the way to New Hope. As long as he could be home by dinner, he's down. He'd be down. He'd be down for whatever. He's down for whatever.
Down for adventures.
Yeah, he'd be down for whatever. So we were, instead of a lot of people out, when they were kids or want BMX bikes, trick bikes, stuff like that. Our bikes, we geared them more towards like off-road terraining.
So you do like the mountain bikes.
Yeah, so I had like my bike was more suited up for like longer, missions and whatnot.
Yeah.
Than just driving down the street.
Right.
But all the time and fire little. It was had it sat right on top. It was silver, black, and it was black, silver, and red. And I would hit, boom, fire it up, and be just cruising down the street.
Sick.
I'd be like, nobody's gonna hit me. I'll hit myself on the street sign.
Yeah, I'll run into a house.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, but that's
I've never known anybody to
literally, it was so scary because I didn't see the house.
You ever have those friends who, and I'm sure everybody does, that learn how to ride a bike like way later than the rest of your friends?
Yeah, it's like driving. Yeah, absolutely.
So I had a friend of mine. He might be listening. If so, sorry, I'm gonna make fun of you for a minute because it's funny. So he learned how to ride bike a couple years later. Like, when did you start learning how to ride a bike? Like what, 7, 8, 9, something like that?
Yeah. 6, 7. Yeah, I taught my daughter at 6, so I'm gonna say around there. Yeah. I think I was riding without training wheels around 5 and 6.
Okay.
But I was in a city, so like you had to get on a bike soon.
So like I'd say by the time you're like 10, 11, you should be
You're masters. Yeah.
So that's right around when he started to learn how to ride a bike.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, so he had this real old, like this bike was
like banana seats.
No, like I'm saying this. Not only was this bike older than we were, it's probably like older than like the next generation too. Like this bike was so old.
Hand me down.
Oh, have to be hand me down garage sale style bike.
Russ, oh my gosh.
So he couldn't, he was just learning, so he couldn't really stop that well. So we used to have this like made up course that we'd come down like the hill to one street, then we'd cut down.
Yeah.
Then we'd come down this other hill, and then we'd come across the parking lot of our school. So like we'd end up at like the bottom of our school parking lot would be like where the end of the course was.
Right.
Well, my man wasn't that good at braking.
Oh.
You hit a house. He hit a dumpster. It wasn't as bad. It's not a house. But like we all stopped.
But this is broad daylight though.
Oh, yeah, it's like 2 PM.
At least that was pitch black for me.
And the thing, it wasn't like he's coming down and we're all like, yo, like we're all like excited because we're like, yeah, he's finally. He used to come out with us, but he would be like on like a Razor scooter or something. So like he's not, we always have to be a little bit, he wasn't quite with the rest. So we're all excited, like, yeah, he's out here. Yeah. And we're looking and we're like, yeah, he should stop. He should stop. Yo, why is he not stopping? Oh my God, stop. Boom.
Boom. That dumpster sound is different.
Oh, yeah. And
sounds
the thing
different.
is, like, and you know how when you get hurt, like when you're a kid, you just want to go home? Like,
yes.
He left his bike there. Like, he left his bike there.
He panicked. Yeah, you panic.
And I remember being like, yo, your bike's here. He didn't even turn around. He just kept walking.
The rationale of children is amazing. Like the idea, like why did not, like for me, like for instance, just all I need to do was slow down. Like I could even walk my bike home.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You're in public.
Mm-hmm.
You see somebody fall or you see somebody fall in public.
Yeah.
But you don't know them.
Yes.
There's other people around.
Mm-hmm.
Are you helping?
Am I helping the person?
Yeah.
It depends who it is.
But you don't know them.
I don't know. If it's like an older lady or like an older man, then I'll probably help them. Anyone under the age of 40 or on your own. And I'm probably laughing at you.
Now, are you like, even if you're not helping, are you trying to avoid that you didn't see it, or you don't care, you're just not helping them?
I'm going to act like I didn't see it.
Okay.
I'm going to laugh to myself, but act like I didn't see it.
So I, couple weeks ago, I was walking my dog, and there was this other individual who was walking their dog too.
Mhm.
Now, my dog, it's easy for him to get distracted, but it's also easy to get him undistracted.
Yeah.
So he was distracted by the other dog. I'm like, yo, let's keep going. Well,
Yeah.
apparently this other individual's dog did not have the same discipline.
Yeah. Yeah.
So out of the corner of my eye, I see that the owner of this dog eats it in the sidewalk. But there's multiple other people around.
Yeah.
And I had my headphones in. I played it off like I did not see it.
Yeah.
I kept walking.
You want to avoid the awkwardness.
Now, I have actually found out later on that that people I know were also there and saw the incident. And it turns out that they're okay. Not like they're hurting anything. But am I wrong for just being like, yo, I'm out?
No, absolutely not.
I didn't know this guy.
Here's what I think. So I'll give you a story that happened here about 6 months ago. So I was outside with the kids, and like we were just I don't know. I think we were throwing a football around or something, and we're just right here on the grass here, and we see someone walking their dog, and it's these two huge dogs, and she's very petite, and she has both, leashes.
The dog's taking her for a ride.
And the dogs took her. She falls to the ground. They start dragging her, and we're like, and we immediately just go inside. I'm like, all right, let's go inside. Let's go. Because like when I see something like that, I think of the person and how the person, like, you don't want someone coming up to you, hey, are you okay? Because you're embarrassed.
Yeah, just leave me alone. I'll
Just
figure
leave
it
me
out.
alone. You're embarrassed.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, right. So like, I didn't want her to see that we saw. So we're laughing. I'm like, oh, let's go. We gotta get inside. Let's go. We literally came inside and watched from the window. I just think that's how people are. Because, like, I know I would be embarrassed if that happened to me. So I don't want, like, sometimes you got to know as a person, I need to stay out of this because I know that person's embarrassed. So I'm gonna let them have that moment.
I can just foresee it as, like, the scenario of, like, a Seinfeld episode where, like,
Yeah.
the person that fell was, like, severely injured, and now you're stuck having to call the paramedics.
Right,
And then
right.
now you're stuck until the ambulance shows
Right.
up.
Which is another scenario I don't want to be a part of.
I don't want to be a part
I
of
don't
that.
want to do that. I'm hoping the next person does it. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to have to be the call the paramedic guy. Because then once you call the paramedics, you got to stay.
Yeah.
You can't go. You can't be like, hey, I called 911. You're going to be in good hands. I'll see you.
They'll be here soon.
They'll be here soon. See you later. You got to stand there. You might have to hold your hand over the wound. I don't want to do that. No. I don't want to be a part of any of that.
No.
I would much rather hope someone else does it so I can get out of doing that. Because
Facts.
That's inconveniencing my day.
Facts.
And I just don't want to be part of it. But, okay, so we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I promise you we'll talk about Brett Brown. And also,
we have to?
something interesting about Lamar Odom has come out that he's decided to do, which I'm confused about. But we'll talk about that also.
Oh, man.
Brad Emery in the morning, Marcus Brown, Justin Emery. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Marcus Brown. I'm here to talk to you about Uncle Mike's Homemade Ice Cream. USA Today selected Uncle Mike's Homemade Ice Cream as the best ice cream parlor in Pennsylvania. Uncle Mike's is a family-owned and dedicated to the production of premium quality gourmet ice cream and sorbet. Made fresh daily on the premises using the highest quality ingredients available. Uncle Mike's features over 30 unique delicious flavors offered in scoops, sundaes, shakes, and special order ice cream cakes and pies. Uncle Mike's Homemade Ice Cream is located at 537 York Road, Warminster, and is open all year round. Visit Uncle Mike's and let their friendly staff serve you happiness one scoop at a time. Yeah, man. Welcome back, Brad Emery in the morning. Marques, Brad, Justin Emery.
Yo, quick question real quick about you hitting that house. Okay?
Back to the house.
Okay. Now, was it a mobile home? Was this house moving?
This house was stationary. It was not going anywhere. I ignored all warning signs that a house was near.
Okay.
I ignored the fact that I was on grass. I ignored the fact that I ran through bushes. I was scared. I was panicking. I panicked. Okay?
I just, like, it'd be one thing if the house was moving and, like, it was in a different location and you were like, oh, it's a mobile home.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you hit a stationary
home. It was not going anywhere. It was insane. But
oh man.
so Brett Brown, you talk about an avalanche of negativity when that man left. And going into before he got fired, there's a lot of things that came out. And we had a conversation just before the pandemic hit about how the Jimmy Butler interview on the JJ Redick podcast and all the things that he was saying about behind the scenes and Sixers culture and everything, and how the pandemic happened, I think, 2 or 3 days after that interview was released. So it kind of covered up, and people kind of forgot all those things that Jimmy Butler said about the way the organization was run, specifically the way Brett Brown ran things. Then you look at, in the bubble, and that seemed to be a mess with him. And all of last year, really, how when you watch Sixers play, you never really saw, what they did well and what they were trying to do, is what I'm trying to say. So Brett Brown gets fired, as we know. We haven't really heard anything from him, but we've still continued to hear things about what was happening in the locker room last year and the year before. We heard things coming out. You hear things like from Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, kind of like, this is the best locker room we've ever had. We've seen leadership now. We have a plan. All of this stuff that's just not good and not what you want to hear if you're obviously Brett Brown. And you see it in the way Sixers played the first 8 games of the season. Well, 7 of those 8 games. You saw a plan. Even though in the Wizards game, the first game of the year, it was closer than everyone wanted it to be. However, in the last 2 minutes, you saw execution down the stretch, which under Brett Brown's tenure, you never saw. There was never execution. It was always a mess the last couple minutes. You never knew what they were trying to get to, what sets they were trying to run. It was just kind of like, figure it out, get a shot if you can. It was no real direction. So my question to you is this, and we're heading into the show, but I want to get into this right now a little bit. Do you think that Brett Brown will be a head coach in the NBA again?
Yeah, I think he will get a job again just because of the...
As a head coach?
Yes, because of a lot of his coaching record, as far as his career coaching record, is when he was supposed to lose.
Agreed.
So, really, I think what was he at 6-7 years as the head coach?
2013, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, really, though, he was only competitive with those teams for maybe 3 years.
Yes.
Like, the first 3 or 4 years is just thrown out the window, and I think that a lot of other organizations also look at that and don't hold that against him. So I do think he'll get a coaching job. Now, it might take him 2 or 3 years to be out. He might have to do the Mike D'Antoni where he's an assistant and then becomes a head coach again.
Yeah.
I do think he will be, but what an indictment it is against Brett Brown's coaching style. I can count at least 2 or 3 games this year that they won that I'm convinced they would have lost under his
1,000%.
Under him.
1,000%.
Where at the end of the game it got sticky and Doc came out with some kind of game plan.
Game 1, for instance.
Yeah.
And you saw what you didn't see where Brett Brown what killed him is that the Sixers never ran any sets. It was kind of a free for all, and he called it that, a free flowing offense, which is fine. If you want to do that, a lot of teams do that. But eventually, at some point, you're going to have to run some sort of plays. And it always kind of looked like Brett Brown's system kind of looked like 5 guys who played, high school or college basketball show up to a park to play, rec ball. They're going to set picks for each other. They're going to know how to move the ball. They're going to know all of that. But, you can't play that for an entire game in the NBA. You just can't do that. So I just look – here's what I agree with everything you said about Brett Brown. I'll add this, however. I think he's definitely going to have to spend some time on a coaching staff of a really good coach, again, to get a job. I don't think he's going to walk into, I don't think next year he's going to be like a guy people are seeking for a coaching job. Just because of the way the locker room has kind of fallen apart and how the support for him has wavered. I think it's universal. Everyone likes Brett Brown. I think he's a well-liked guy. But, there's very different things between like and respect. I don't think he was respected as a Sixers locker room as a voice. I think when the team started to get good and things started to turn around, you saw very quickly that he was not going to be the guy to win the championship. I always called him Doug Collins. He was the guy before the guy.
Yeah.
And I never saw him as a guy that was going to be the one at the end with the champagne. I never saw that. He was the guy. For me, he's always the guy before the guy. Hopefully Doc Rivers will be our Phil Jackson. We'll see. But I think that with Brett, he just did not know how to get these guys to really, truly buy in. I don't know if you heard this, but it was recently reported last year that Ben Simmons was practicing a lot of times by himself. He practiced outside randomly, by himself in the middle of team practices. And there was no real major practice habits. And, there was no real practicing of game plans. Jimmy Butler tells that story from on JJ Redick podcast when he first got there and, they were going over – Brett Brown called him, Joe, Ben, and JJ into the office trying to figure out how to better get the team going, and no one said anything. And Jimmy said, I knew right there this wasn't going to work. And, so – and the idea, and Brett also being threatened by the alpha dog that was Jimmy Butler. Why Jimmy Butler ended up not being here because Elton Brand, in essence, chose Brett Brown over Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
So you have all of this stuff right here and all of these things that's come out. He's going to have – I'm not saying he won't coach again in the NBA. He won't be a head coach. But the path is not clear right now for him to be a head coach again.
No. He's going to have to take – like I said, he's going to have to take a couple years off, probably have to be an assistant, and then come back. We have the final polling results from our question.
All right. Where we at?
Unlike yesterday where we had split vote, we have a 100% unanimous selection on no. We would not do the trade for James Harden.
All right. I mean, fair enough. And I'm with them too because, again, the Maxey thing was too far for me.
I agree.
That was my
Imagine sitting through the process to give up Simmons and Maxey.
Right. But I want to run this by with Lamar Odom. Lamar Odom has now signed on to be a celebrity boxer.
Okay.
My first response to that was, did you not watch Nate Robinson get his head separated from his body?
Yeah.
Are you trying to get your soul dislodged also?
What? Why?
Because I don't see Lamar Odom taking his training very seriously.
No, why?
And trans can't be happening in the Vegas brothels.
Why? Why does anybody want to become like a boxer?
Yeah, that's the last thing I want to do.
Do you like getting punched in the face?
No, it's want to avoid that. You want to avoid that at all costs. I don't want that to happen to me. But I mean, Lamar Odom's at this point now where his celebrity is fading, so this is kind of like a lifeline for him to get to kind of still capitalize off of that. And a lot of guys are doing that. But
I'm sure he's got enough money there he can just hang out and.
I don't know, man. How much he spent at the Bunny Ranch? He was spending a lot of money at that Bunny Ranch. And cocaine is expensive. So is crack. How much is really in that bank account?
That's fair.
He was celebrating his life.
That's fair.
He had Lamar Odom a celebration of life.
That's fair.
For a lot of years. So maybe that bank account's drying up. So yesterday we were talking about table nachos. We're talking about nachos.
Yes, yeah, table nachos.
I forgot to bring this up yesterday. Have you seen that Tostitos commercial with Cam Chancellor?
Yes.
Where he's talking about his nachos?
Yes.
Those are the worst looking nachos I've ever seen in my entire life.
Thank you.
Every time I watch that commercial, I get visibly upset. You can't sprinkle a little bit of cheese, a little bell pepper on there, and say I make the best nachos. Nachos are trash. Where's the meat? You can't have meatless nachos. You might, and what do you don't even put those in the oven? Put those in the microwave and call it a day.
Yeah.
Those microwaves are big trash.
It's funny you say that because I too have hated on that commercial.
I hate it.
I've hated it to the point that I've suppressed it.
It literally drives me crazy. As a person who loves a good nacho, Those nachos, I would live like I look at him
made
like
some.
Cam. Listen, you will never make nachos again for me.
Oh, I made some nice nachos for the Washington Tampa Bay game.
Nice,
I did.
nice.
I regret not taking pictures of it, but I made some.
I'm not good at making nachos. I'm not good. I'll throw some things on a plate.
See,
but I'm not good at that.
My thing is just like you had mentioned yesterday. I'm really bad at presentation.
Yeah.
But I promise you, it will taste phenomenal.
Yeah. That's kind of me. I wouldn't do nachos. I'll put it this way. I'm comfortable making nachos for myself. I would never make it for a party. Because it needs to be prettier for a party.
No, the thing is, I'll make it for a party because it'll taste phenomenal.
Yeah.
And if you don't like the way that it looks, like I said, I do at parties, I will stand by the table and I'll eat it myself.
Fine. I'm eating everything.
I'll eat it all myself.
I'll eat it all myself.
And if you don't want what I brought to the party, that's fine because I'll eat it. But what you did bring to the party, I do want, and I'll eat all that too.
There you go. So what did we learn today?
Table nachos are great.
We also learned James Harden's going to the Nets, and
James Harden's going to the Nets.
The stimmy James Harden stimmy package will be relevant.
We learned what the Cowboys' new football uniforms are going to be.
I like them.
Very
on brand.
Very on brand. And we also nominated our first Grammy nominee.
I like it.
And it was a very informative episode for everybody out there.
Yeah, I agree. I hope you all enjoyed tuning in. You can check us out, obviously, live as you are now if you're doing that. You can also check us out anywhere podcasts are found.
Yes, sir.
We're on all platforms, Bradham Emery Pod, at Bradham Emery Pod, sorry. Follow me at Marques Between on all platforms.
Follow me everywhere at Justin Emery Show. But like I said yesterday and every other day, if you want to reply, only on Twitter.
Absolutely. And this is Marques Bradham reminding you, you can be with us, you can be against us, but you're never going to stop us late.